Josh, do you consume a lot of North Korean media?
And what if I said yes?
I'd be very concerned. Like, what is going on over there?
No, I don't. I don't consume any.
Well, you obviously are a liar because if you have watched the show Invincible, have you
Oh,
watched that?
yeah. I watched the show Invincible.
Okay,
on
well,
Prime, yeah.
Then you have,
Oh.
as long as you watch season 2.
Oh, okay.
Because leaked documents from North Korea reveal that they apparently worked on it.
That is wild to just think about.
I was like, wait, what? North Korea's working on this?
Yeah, that's crazy thinking about it.
Yeah, and they worked on other things as well. But the crazy thing is that through, I guess, like this one guy, the cyber enthusiast, as I guess he's put it, he was like probing North Korea and he found these documents that show Invincible and Yanu Child of Wonder, and an anime called what is it? Dahlia in Bloom, which is set to release in summer. And I mean, Invincible is showing right now. So the thing is that it shows that they have worked on this stuff.
This is kind of crazy. The outsourcing is getting wild out here.
Yeah, they're like, wait, they're working on it? Because the crazy thing is that they shouldn't have been in the first place, which is wild. And we'll continue on and describe why that's wild in a second. After you consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, we come with interesting topics like this one daily. So if you want to stay up to date with interesting topics like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. So the wild thing is that the contracts for these types of things basically outlined, at least from Skybound Entertainment, which produces Invincible, the contract specifically prohibits outsourcing to any third party without their express written consent. And no such consent has been sought nor granted. So they're taking this matter very seriously, obviously, and has started an investigation and to get to the bottom of this. So you're like, well, okay, maybe they knew. Maybe they secretly knew that they were sending it there. And they're like, oh, it's really cheap. So then, we'll get cheap labor.
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
But you'd be wrong. The hole goes even deeper because it looks like the people, like the studios, are actually off the hook somewhat because the show notes, the notes on the animation drawings, were in Chinese.
Oh, okay.
So they're speculating that this was outsourced from China to North Korea to get some parts done. So it's like subcontracted like twice at this point.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about that can happen. But it's not. You do hear about this from time to time where people outsource their jobs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're working for a company and they outsource their jobs.
I've heard of ones where it was like software engineers and they were like people who'd be working like 2 jobs. Would then outsource some of their coding work to India.
Yeah, I have heard about that. Yeah.
And they're like, they would do it for a fraction of the cost. And then they would just go and then like basically take the work that they generated and then like kind of clean it up or like check it. Then sometimes they didn't even check it.
Yeah. So I can imagine this.
It's I mean, shocking to say the least, because there's already apparently animosity, at least in terms of the Japanese side, between the outsourcing of animation jobs.
Yeah, and those people, and they run on a very tight deadline too.
Yeah,
like essentially like the day of.
Well, tight deadline, but also tight budgets.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
So they're always trying to find the cheapest way to get things done, which is tough because they're balancing like the quality. Like to get cheap labor, you're also like potentially sacrificing the quality of the work, which I feel like I've seen in some scenes where like, it becomes really choppy. But I mean, maybe they're only working on like the in-between, something that's like very simple and easy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't notice it too much, but I feel like in a lot of shows, you definitely can see like where the
quality drops.
Quality becomes more jank. It's just like, whoa, that's way, way off model. So yeah, there's growing discontent because like a lot of the homegrown like Japanese artists are like they're barely being able to survive,
Yeah.
and then their work is being like outsourced. So it's kind of crazy how much this like goes into. And I mean, so additionally, there's the whole thing about the studio. So I didn't realize this too, but like you know how there's like propaganda and like state-run media.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently the studio animation studio that made this was like a fairly big thing in North Korea.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I typically don't think of animation studios in North Korea. To be honest, I think mainly
Of other stuff.
yeah, other stuff, but like animation studios. The first thought that always comes to mind is Japan
Mm-hmm.
or even the U.S.
A lot of it's also in China and Korea at this point.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But the North Korean one was SEK Studio, which was founded in 1950. So it seems like they're trying to like get as much money as they can, and they're doing like basically odd jobs like this one
Okay.
to like get as much money in because of all the like sanctions and stuff
Oh,
that are going
yeah.
on over there. So it's like they're over here like, well, you know, we'll work on this and that, and I mean, doing whatever they can at this point. But does this? So my question to you would be, does this change your opinion on the show? Like, does it make you less likely to watch it? It makes me like question, like the origin of it, you know, because like you do question like the working conditions for the people. I mean, the working conditions already are pretty bad in terms of like animators and stuff, at
Yeah.
least in Japan.
Yeah. So the thing is, yes, I do think that, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard because the thing is, I would want people to be fairly compensated, to not have as tight of deadlines, even if that means not having a show on time. At the same time, I always think it's like, we don't always have to have a show like come out every week, or like, but I know some people would disagree with me on that. But
Yeah.
I also think that for most people, it would be that if the show is good, they won't care
don't
about
care
anything.
regardless?
Yeah, they don't care regardless if the show is good. Imagine this. Imagine if One Piece was all outsourced.
A lot of it is.
Yeah, and do people talk about that?
I mean, I think
They
some
talk-
people do.
Some people do, but most people are talking about the storyline, wanting the next episode, wanting more.
I think they only talk about it if the quality becomes like really bad.
Yeah, if the quality becomes really bad, but I've also seen some shows that the quality is really bad, and I'm just like, where are they getting these?
These
How,
people?
yeah, where are they getting these people? How are they getting any money for any of this stuff?
So my point, I guess, goes to like fashion and other things where they're trying to drive down the costs. So in fashion, the whole controversy is that like, you know, they have I guess sweatshops, like
Yeah.
mills and stuff, I guess. So in that sense, there's like the whole move for industry to have ethically sourced like clothing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, to the point that you're making, a lot of people don't care. They just want
You-
the fast fashion.
Like yeah, that's true. And the thing is, yeah, and I will say that companies like Temu, Shein are really popular, and they're really cheap because people are able to afford it. They don't really think about they don't really think about the sweatshop portion about it. I do, because I'm like, first off, it's like, from what I hear, quality's not great. At the same time, quality's not great, and then a lot of the times they're stealing designs and doing a bunch of other stuff, and the working conditions are terrible. But there's a lot of people who are supporting them, and like they're putting ads on in
Like
the Super
sponsors
Bowl
and stuff.
yeah, and the thing is, people are still going to keep on buying from them because they're like, well, I could buy all these clothes, I could buy it cheap, and I get the instant gratification. So I don't know. It's like, you do hear about like the working conditions in like for studios, but at the same time, because they're putting out a lot of high quality stuff, that a lot of people, I think, glaze over the fact.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that these, at least Invincible, is a fairly large IP at this point, or intellectual property.
Yeah, for Amazon especially, because
Yeah.
like they had such a big success in season 1, they made a season 2.
So, I mean, in that sense, I'm like, I would hope that because of that, they'd want to have like the best workers going at it, and they're probably going to make their money back on the back end in terms of like royalties on like merchandise and like other things. So I'm like, to cut like those corners, but I mean, it sounds like they just genuinely didn't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I could fault them. Like, part of me is like, I wouldn't like the idea of it because it's like, I don't want to feel bad watching it now that I know like, oh, it could be potentially be people being exploited to make this. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't
feel good. Yeah, it doesn't
it,
feel good
it makes it
watching
less. I mean, I'm like, oh, I mean, it's really cool, but I'm like, I don't know. It makes it tough. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Does this actually, I mean, make you reconsider watching it, or do you know? I mean,
Does
they're
it affect
looking
your
into it.
viewing experience?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking into it, so I guess they're gonna figure it out. But I mean, it does make sense why they would. They're like, oh, like we make, if I can get, what was it, $10,000 to make this thing, and then like, oh, but then I pocket 9,000 and then spend 1,000 to have someone else make it somewhere else. Then you're like, it's the trickle down thing where like, oh no, I can find someone else to do it cheaper.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.